Good morning, young duck. Nice to see you.
Yes, it's been a week. Oh, good.
Look who else we've got. Anne Marie, hello.
Hello there, how are you?
Really good, and it is so good to see you.
Oh, thank you. Hey, I'm just going to change my name. I see I've still got Anne Marie
Flycatcher.
Flycatcher's Normanton. It was about a bird group I belong to.
That's hilarious. So, Anne Marie and Doug, why don't you two just introduce yourself? But let me preface it by saying that I know both of you and I love you both.
Thank you.
Oh, gee,
You go
thank you.
first, Emery.
Yeah, so I'm a social worker who's doing their PhD after a long time. Yeah, Megan had talked to me about doing it for a long time before I actually took the plunge, and
Yeah.
yeah, so I'm doing mine with Queensland Uni,
Okay.
and about early childhood education and care and trauma and stuff. Yeah, so
Okay.
yeah. Yes, but
But
I've
mine's
lived in,
not in social work.
hey.
Mine's more in sociology because
Oh,
I
okay.
haven't sort of been working in social work for a couple of years now, but I've got a master's and all that in social work, after from Flinders, and I've worked in the field for about a decade or so before I'm in and out. And all that. But my field is on climate change mitigation through environmental sociology and eco-socialism.
All right. Oh,
Yeah.
very cool. You should have.
Always fascinated at the breadth of topics in social work research or sociology research.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But you
yeah.
are a social worker, so I'm going to continue to say social work. Doug, is that okay by
Yeah,
you?
that's fine. Yeah, because I'm
Yeah.
using a social justice sort of perspective as well.
Framework. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Which is actually interesting after the watching some of the things from the social work um conference thing that was recently. It really I know cemented my things about going back to the social work theories because of the other postgraduate study that I've done. You've got theories from all different um, areas,
Mm.
but yeah, I've ended up going. Yeah, actually, social work stuff fits this really good.
So which theories in particular are you talking about there, Anne Marie?
Well, like strengths-based stuff. So like instead of my thing was to, raise awareness of ACEs and that sort of thing, but flipping that to the um, increasing positive childhood experiences. And because, if you highlight those, more of those are likely to happen. And
Mhm.
yeah, so just sort of um, flipping that around, and then just things around, yeah, social justice and that sort of thing. So yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I often go back to social theory. And for me, social theory and Gramsci go together, even though Gramsci was a politician who never finished university. So he didn't even have an undergraduate degree. But,
Yeah.
I'm in love with the man. And if he was here today, I would be marrying him. And that's all there is to it. And Paul knows that because I often do say to Paul, I married Gramsci when I grow up. And he was short as well. He was probably even less than 5 foot because he was a hunchback. Like he had
Okay.
major disabilities, that poor man. But
Oh,
for the work that he produced, it's just phenomenal. So where are you both at? say this last week, Anne-Marie. I know you've been in Brisbane, so I'm looking forward to hearing that. But where are you both at with your research and how is it going?
Well, it's actually sorry, Doug, jumping in like this. I just realised I've been a bit rude. I'm used to just talking to Megan.
No, that's fine. That's
Sorry.
fine. I just shook my head because it's just like mine's sort of waiting at the moment for a bit more.
Yeah. So I down in Brisbane, attended the Draw Summer School. So that was really idea inspiring. And then I had my first supervision session with all three of my supervisors in person. And it was awesome. It was a really good conversation. Yeah, and because I was going to be on campus, they had, prioritized actually seeing me, which was lovely. And yeah, so we had I had lunch with all the team there, and then we had supervision, and yeah, it was really good. Can't hear you, Megan.
You're on mute, Megan.
Yeah, sorry, I had muted myself, and that's what everybody probably wishes I would do all the time, just mute myself. Anne-Marie, was it a liquid lunch before you had supervision? Like,
No,
did you
no.
have a glass of champagne, for example, at lunch? Oh,
No, just at the uni. Yeah, a lot of
I'm
people.
so sorry.
A lot of people brought their own. And yeah, I got introduced to the food supplies there. So
Yeah, fantastic. And you might like to actually tell Doug how isolated you are and what actually going to mean at uni means.
yeah, so I live up in Normanton, so up in the Gulf of Carpentaria.
Okay.
Yeah, so 700k west of Cairns.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's up high. How
Yeah,
far is that from your university as the crow flies from
about
campus?
1500, I think.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, as the crow flies. I think it's like 2100 to drive.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, so I went there right at the end of September, just before I started. I only started on the 1st of October.
Okay.
And yeah, then I've just been down again now. So I only get there occasionally. And my plan is that I'll get there about every 3 months or so. My dad lives down that way as well. So it means I can visit family while I'm there, that was my plan with going with Queensland Uni, was
Yeah.
so I could do both. But yeah, very, very isolated, and like there's nobody else in Normanton doing their PhD at this time.
No.
So it's
And hey, are you the first one in your family to have a PhD?
Kirsty and I are the first ones in our we graduated on the same day, first ones in our very extended family to have a degree of any sort. Yeah.
Okay. And Doug, you're the first one in your family too, aren't you? Yeah.
Yeah.
And to my knowledge, I'm the first one in my family to have a PhD as well. So this is interesting. And given our spread, we're representing 3 different states here. So Anne-Marie's Queensland, Doug is South Australia, and I'm Queensland. And we're all a very long way from our universities. So how cool is it that we can all do this?
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Anyway, sorry, Anne-Marie, I did cut you off then. Back to
Yeah,
you.
no, that was probably my thing. So yeah.
Okay. Well, I'm really glad that you've had a positive first experience of face-to-face supervision. That's excellent. I'm yet to have a face-to-face supervision for my PhD because everything is done digitally. And you, both of you know my ongoing woes with supervisions, like 5 different supervisors in 12 months. Like, what the hell?
Mm.
But Doug, speaking of supervision, where are you at? Because your
I'd
journey
have a
has
second
been
one very soon.
okay.
Kimberly has suggested somebody that she just needs to have a bit more of a chat to.
Okay.
So hopefully by January they'll be on board.
And which university? Are they adjunct or at
No, that's
CDU?
CDU.
Okay.
I'm not sure if
All right.
they're in the Alice or Darwin.
Okay, that's interesting then. Yeah.
Yeah.
Alice Springs. Wow, that's it would be tough to live in Alice.
Yeah.
Yeah, very, very
Tough
tough.
living in territory anyway.
Hey, I don't know what your humidity is in Norman today, Anne Marie, but I'm actually dying here. It is
I'm
so
actually in Cairns. It's actually funny because I was I've been away and I've been a bit sick and that as well. And anyway, I decided I was going home today from Cairns. And then I saw your thing pop up and I went, no, I'm not. I'm staying here today and I'll go home tomorrow. So like I had my bag and that just about packed and I told my daughter I was leaving.
leaving.
And then I went out and said, you know, am I right
Change
to
my
stay
mind.
another day?
So how long is the drive home for you?
It takes me all day, hey, so about 9 hours.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, it's a long drive. Yeah.
yeah,
And
yeah. So if I don't start like at 8-ish, I tend to leave it till the next day.
yeah, well,
Are
it's
the
too
roads all
hot.
sealed? Sorry?
Yeah, it's all sealed. There's some single lane bitumen, which
Yeah.
when you meet, B doubles and that on it
Yeah,
is pretty, you get off the road and
fuzzy.
you stop. Yeah,
Mm,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. For 20 minutes while the dust also settles.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've noticed when I'm traveling that there's less animals on the road now too. Like there's less kangaroos jumping across. And in fact, I mentioned to Paul the other day that we haven't seen a kangaroo since we've been here,
Oh,
Mm.
for
which
real?
is real. Yeah. Yeah. Not a single one. And I still haven't seen a buffalo. I'm looking forward to that as long as I'm in the car. But it's just interesting with the amount of road deaths that occur. But also from an eco perspective,
Mm.
as the planet is warming up, and this summer is set to be the hottest summer that we have had so far.
Yeah.
So what's happening to our animals? Are they all going inland, or are they staying somewhere else, or what's happening to them all? Yeah, it's an interesting observation that I've made.
Mm.
Yeah, don't know. And you don't have that problem in Adelaide, obviously.
No, well, new pandas arrived at the Adelaide Zoo yesterday, and it was a stinker. It was 30, nearly 38, and it's going to be
Yeah,
39 today. And
yeah.
it's inside the house. It's 29, and
Because you've got aircon on, or
no,
because
I've got a
you're
fan on at the moment,
yeah,
and we're just not running little dash fans at the moment.
yeah,
Aircon in the bedroom, which was a saviour last night because it was 27.
yeah,
But yeah, I need a ceiling fan or two.
yeah, yeah. I just can't cope with the heat anymore.
No.
And Doug, I know this is not something that impacts you, well, probably with your partner, maybe.
Mm.
But menopause, I'm so glad that I'm through that. I do not
Mm.
think I could survive living here if I was menopausal. I'm sure Paul would have to die. It's
And your
just
neighbours.
yeah. And it's not the degrees that's the killer. So 38 is a normal day for us, Doug.
Yeah,
It's the humidity.
yeah.
And I don't know about you, Anne Marie, are you raining in Cairns at the moment or not?
No, it's sunny, but yeah, the sweat was dripping off me, and so I've put the air conditioner on in here now, but I've got this thing between needing the cool and the air conditioner upsetting my breathing and stuff. Yeah, so
Yeah, I know that's
so I've
hard.
got a
Yeah.
bit of a, off and on.
Yeah. I really worry about running the air conditioner and the emissions because I am a greenie.
Yeah,
And I really worry about what it's doing to the environment. And then I say to Paul, oh, we really should make the move and just go to Tasmania. And he says, and then you're running heaters. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, which one? Yeah. And you've got all of that air travel to get back to see the kids. Oh my Lord. Yes. Yeah, so I don't know. Yeah. And Anne-Marie knows that I'm right into the environment.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
If you
hard.
hear
So
that humming noise, that's the fridge.
your fridge? No, well, I
Yeah.
didn't hear anything.
You don't
No,
hear it? Well,
no,
it
no.
goes all the time, and you're doing video calls and all that, and it's just annoying. It's this background noise just constantly there.
Yeah. I usually use a Yeti microphone and I'm able to block out a lot of the background
Okay.
noises because I also have my fan on. So I don't know if you can hear the fan. I've got the
Yeah.
aircon and the fan on. Yeah. But the Yeti is really good for blocking out that noise. But my CDU laptop, one of the ports has stopped working, and it's the ports that I plug all of my other things
Oh,
into,
yes.
including the Yeti. Yeah. And my second screen won't work. So I don't know what's wrong, but I can't send this back now until uni
Oh,
goes
New
back in
Year.
January. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
Yeah. So
Is it
everybody's just
charging?
stuck with me. Sorry.
Is it charging now? Because it wasn't charging
It's
last
yes.
week.
Okay, so it was actually this time last week that I realized that I had a problem. So yes, it has charged, but it was the port that I was plugged into that had stopped working.
Okay.
So I've had to rearrange everything, but there's only one port now that I can use. So I either charge and that's it, or I use the Yeti and that's it.
Yeah.
But the second screen for me is gone, which is actually difficult for me writing because I prefer to write on a big screen.
Yeah.
I just cannot do it on my laptop. I'm too old and too bad eyesight. But that's all right. So who's been writing this week? Anne-Marie probably hasn't because she's been busy down in the big city, being
yeah.
fancy.
Yeah, no, actually, so I went down for well, I've been for my cruise and been to visit family, and then I had the summer school, and I was, you know, booked a motel in town so that I could, go to it and socialize and do all that stuff. And I ended up sick and ended up zooming into their thing, like, so it didn't work out the way I planned at all. I was very fortunate that I could zoom in and got to, because there was, you could either attend in person or zoom in, but I specifically went to be able to be with real people.
Yeah.
I ended up having to zoom in because I was sick, but I was in a nice motel
Yeah.
to be sick in anyway, and that I could still attend was really good.
Last time, well, certainly when you came to Norfolk Island, which was this time last year, or just a week ago, or 2 weeks ago, or something, last year, you got sick when you came back as well. So
Mm,
it must be all the germs on the aeroplanes.
it must be. I take um drugs to lower my immune system. So, because I've got Crohn's disease. And
Yeah.
so, yeah. And while I stay in my own little patch of bugs, I think I'm right. But, yeah, when I go out and because I take these immunosuppressant drugs, um, it means that I don't have much fight off power when I get something. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. That's very unfortunate. Yeah.
Mm.
Well, I know that COVID's doing the rounds again too. There's a lot of people that I'm seeing on social media, not that I'm interacting with a lot of humans at the moment. But a lot of people are down with COVID, and there's been comments from overseas people to say things along the lines of, oh, do you still test for COVID in Australia? So that surprised me too. In other countries, they just don't test anymore because COVID is here to stay, or I don't know. But interesting.
Yeah, no, well, I tested for COVID and it wasn't that. But and I had a COVID booster before I went, because I do keep up with all my things, because I'm one of the high risk people.
Mhm.
Yeah, but
Mm.
yeah, it's just taking me a good while to get over it.
So, Cherubs, what's your highlight, your research highlight of the week?
Maybe getting a new supervisor.
Huge,
It
absolutely
is.
huge. Yeah,
And
yeah.
possibly getting my confirmation proposal back by Friday, this Friday. I was hoping Friday just gone, but I think it's Kim meant this Friday coming because she's
That's
had the
wonderful.
flu. Hey?
That's wonderful.
Yeah. So then I can
Yeah.
actually know what to work on and get ready for the actual confirmation of candidature, however you say it, performance.
Yeah. So Anne-Marie's still yet to do hers as well, her confirmation.
Yeah.
But I know when I did mine, I put my heart and soul into it. But I was so fortunate that I had Professor Tara Brabazon in my court then as well. And she was just so helpful. Like, she would read stuff and she'd say, explain this more, or just check that that's what that theorist said. Oh, it was great, her
Yeah.
feedback. Yeah. But
Yeah.
I'm up to my mid candidature review now.
Already?
Yeah,
wow.
yeah,
Oh, wow.
I know. So I have to hand in for that. I have to hand in 2 complete chapters, which are not done yet. I'm still writing like I'm a crazy woman, which is obviously the way that I write. I'm inspired by something, or somebody says something and I go, I need to put that in my thesis. So I'll go and write paragraphs around it, but I haven't yet joined anything together. Anne-Marie, last week, Doug and I discussed getting stuff into the One document, and Doug had, the stuff that I sent to you, Anne-Marie,
Yeah,
from
yeah.
Flinders, yeah. And then I had confirmation from CDU that this is what they look like. They don't have a pro forma, but this is what must go into the thesis. So I am now finally writing to the One document. And there's little jobs that I do if I don't feel like writing, if I'm not inspired to write. I do the little jobs like the dedication page. Or the pageation, making sure that I've got the right margins. Professor Brabazon used to always say, touch base with your thesis every single day, including Saturday and Sunday when your families are around, but touch base with your thesis so that you're always in the loop. And her words ring in my ears, so I'm always doing something. But one thing that Paul said this week, I don't know where we were. I think we were out to lunch or dinner at a restaurant somewhere. And Paul made a comment about structured alcoholism. How society has structured alcohol into everything that we do. Now, Paul doesn't drink. He's teetotaler. I'm the drinker in the family, because I've always got a driver. And as soon as he said structured alcoholism, I went, God, that's another example I can put of how society is constructed to make people do things and think things in a certain way to keep the elites and the subaltern completely separate. Yeah, so that was actually a big highlight for me. And I have been looking at the stuff around structured alcoholism, and the 12-step program, et cetera, et cetera. Yeah. But Anne-Marie, sorry, how about you? What's something that's really stood out for you this week?
Probably, yeah, the meeting with my 3 supervisors, and apparently, like, I don't watch the news or anything very often. That's just, I don't watch TV very often. I don't have time. No, it's just not something that um appeals. And so anyway, apparently the government had released a thing on early more funding stuff for early childhood and care, and they'd released this document about how they'd worked out who needed it most at this point in time. And so they'd worked out, childcare deserts, as they called them. And so, like, Normanton, I know, does not have near enough daycare places for the demand. However, they didn't come up as a place of, like, it came up as a place of high disadvantage, but not of high need for the childcare centre. That's because they did it on the statistical level of the shire rather than of the town. So that included, they did Carpentaria. So that that included Corumba, and Corumba's got a childcare centre that's only got probably 3 kids in it.
Oh.
So that means that it comes up that we're not actually in need. And so we had some discussion about the way, yeah, government works out things. And one of the other ladies was, about, if you've got the high disadvantage and you've got, kids who aren't achieving well, it doesn't matter how many childcare centres you've got, they're not actually of high enough quality to change anything. Yeah, so yeah, had a really interesting discussion with them, and then my main supervisor was going to write up a no response out of our conversation to the conversation. Yeah, so I'll be, yeah, looking forward to seeing if and how that eventuates. She apparently does commit to a lot of things that she really doesn't actually have the time to do. So yeah, but it was a really interesting conversation around it because, like Carpentaria is one example, but that would apply to many, many places as well. But yeah, just having that opportunity to have in-person chats and be able to contribute something to it too, to feel that you are, I know, having a conversation um, on level with people, even though they've got all these fancy qualifications.
Yeah, I think the ability to be able to communicate with others and also articulate what it is that you're doing while listening to what they're doing, it really does make a difference. And Doug and I have been incredibly lucky because we belonged to a global cohort of higher degrees by research students that was facilitated by Tara, and we met all the time. So Doug and I now also belong to another group that I can very rarely get to on a Friday morning. Yeah, I know it's just the wrong time for me, but and then this one for social workers only, it absolutely makes a difference, Anne-Marie. And then being able to see those people in person as well. When I was in Perth, I met up with Mary, who's organised the Friday group. And I've met a couple of the other PhD students from our first global group that we were involved in. Yeah, it does make a difference. It reduces the loneliness. And Anne-Marie, interesting to hear you say, this is my words now, that was wasn't exactly what you said, but all those people with those fancier degrees, all of those brilliant people. Isn't it interesting how imposter syndrome bites us all? And me too, who teaches about imposter syndrome. But when I'm faced with these people with like 2 and 3 PhDs, for God's sake, like I
Yeah.
feel so insignificant and like I know nothing, like nothing. Yeah. Yeah, so
Yeah.
it's interesting, but it's part of pushing through that.
Mm.
And the other thing, Anne-Marie, that really struck me was 2 things there. Everything is data. So the woman who was going to write up the conversation,
Yeah.
as a response to the conversation. So that's interesting because everything is data. And then limitations of studies, how important it is for all of us to put in what the limitations are, because you picked up on the limitation of that study. It's based on equality. So how many people rather than equity, like the greater need is here. Yeah, so it's interesting.
Mm.
Okay, Cherub, so are you up for writing now for half an hour silently, or would you rather just write by yourself?
I think I have to write by myself because I have to disappear because it's very warm in this room and I'm
Okay, no
starting to
worries.
bake.
Then we will all disappear. If that's all right by you, Anne-Marie.
Yep, absolutely. Was lovely
Okay.
to catch up with you, though.
Yeah, are we
Yeah,
doing next
and
week?
you too. Yes, next week, absolutely. That's the last week before Christmas, isn't it? I don't even know what.
Yeah.
Yeah, yes. So next week I will be here. Don't know about you guys, but I will be here. So I look forward to talking to you all then. And Doug, have you got your partner with you at the moment as well?
Yep.
Oh,
She's down in the
wonderful.
lounge.
Hello, partner. That's excellent. I'm very glad to hear that.
Yeah.
All right, cherubs or cherubin, I will see you all next week.
Okay, bye.
Yep. Okay. See yous. Bye.
Bye.